Okay, welcome back everyone. This is theCUBE's coverage here in San Francisco, California. AWS Summit 2022, the beginning of the event season as it comes back. A little bit smaller footprint, a lot of hybrid events going on, but this is actually a physical event. AWS Summit in New York's coming in the summer. We'll be there too with theCUBE on the set. We're getting back in the groove. Psyched to be back. We were at reInvent as well, and we'll see more and more CUBE, but you're going to see a lot of virtual CUBE, a lot of hybrid CUBE. We want to get all those conversations, try to get more interviews, more flow going, but right now I'm excited to have Quinn here back on theCUBE, Chief Cloud Economist with Duckbill Group. He's the founder and Chief Content Person. Always got great angles, fun, comedy, but authoritative. Corey, great to see you.
Thanks
for coming on.
That sure is a lot of words to describe as shit posting, which is how I describe what I tend to do most days.
Shit posting is an art form now, and if you look at Mark Andreessen's been doing a lot of shit posting lately. All the billionaires are shit posting, but they don't know how to do it. Like, they're not doing it right.
There's a consulting opportunity there. It's like, here's how to be even more obnoxious and incisive. It's honestly the most terrifying scenario for anyone is if I have that kind of budget to throw at my endeavors. It's like, I get excited with the nonsense I can do with a $20 gift card for an AWS credit compared to, oh, well, if I could buy a mid-sized island to begin doing this from, oh, then we're having fun.
This shit posting trend's interesting. I was watching a thread go on about how someone didn't get a job because of their shit posting and the employer didn't get it, and then someone on the other side, I'll hire the guy because that's highly intelligent shit posting. So for the audience that doesn't know what shit posting is, what is shit posting?
It's more or less talking about the world of enterprise technology, which even that sentence is hard to finish without falling asleep and toppling out of my chair in front of everyone on the live stream. But it's doing it in such a way that brings it to life, that says the quiet part a lot of the audience is thinking, but generally doesn't say, either because they're polite or not a jackass, or more prosaically, are worried about getting fired. For better or worse, I don't have that particular constraint.
Which is why people love you. So let's talk about what you think is worthy and not worthy in the industry right now. Obviously, KubeCon's coming up in Spain, which they're having a physical event. You can see the growth of cloud native. Amazon's evolving. Adam Schlesinger, new CEO. Andy's moved on to be the chief of all Amazon. Just saw him on the cover of, was it Time magazine? He's under a lot of stress. Amazon's changed, AWS has changed. What's working, what's not, what's rising, what's falling, what's hot, what's not.
It's easy to sit here and criticize almost anything these folks do. They're effectively in a fishbowl, but I have trouble imagining the logistics it takes to wind up handling the catering for a relatively downscale event like this one this year, let alone running a 1.7 million employee company, having to balance all the competing challenges and pressures and the rest. I just can't fathom what it would be like to look at all of AWS and its sprawling immensity that dominates our entire industry and say, okay, this is a good start, but I want to focus on something with a broader remit. What is that? How do you even get into that position? And you can't win once you're there. All you can do is hold on to the tiger and hope you don't get mauled. Well,
there's a lot of force for good conversations, seeing a lot of that going on. AWS is trying to portray themselves as, the pathfinder, you're the pioneer, force for good, and I get that. And I think that's a good angle. As cloud goes mainstream, there's still the question of, we had a guy on just earlier who was a skydiving instructor, and we were joking about the early days of cloud, like, that was like skydiving, will the parachute open? And now it's the same kind of thing. As you move to edge, things are like reliable in some areas, but still new fringe, new areas that's crazy.
Well, since the last time we've spoken, Steve Schmidt is now the CISO for all of Amazon, and his backfill replacement, the AWS CISO, is CJ Moses, who as a hobby races as a semi-pro race car driver, to my understanding, which either, I don't know what direction to take that in, either this is what he does to relax, or ultimately it's, that certainly says something about risk assessment. I'm not entirely sure what, but okay. Either way, it sounds like a more exciting life.
They better have his replacement ready in case something goes wrong on the track.
Highly available CISOs.
I got to say, one of the things I do like in the recent trend is that the tech companies are getting into the Formula One, which I was never a fan of until I watched that Netflix series. But when you look at the Formula One, it's pretty cool because it's got some tech angles. I get the whole data instrumentation thing, but the most coolest thing about Formula One is they have these new rigs out where you can actually race in esports with other people in pure simulation of the race car. You got to get the latest NVIDIA graphics card, but it's basically a tricked out PC with amazing monitors, and you have all the equipment of F1, and you're basically simulating racing.
Oh, it's great too, and I can see the appeal of these tech companies getting into it because these things are basically rocket ships when those cars go. Like, they're sitting there, we can instrument every last part of what is going on inside that vehicle, and then AWS crops up, and we can bill on every one of those dimensions too, and it's like, slow down there, hasty pudding, one step at a time. But I do see the appeal.
So I got to ask you about what's going on in your world. I know you have a lot of great success. We've been following you on theCUBE for many, many years. Got a great newsletter. Check out Quinn's newsletter, Screaming in the Cloud program. You're on the cutting edge, and you got a great balance between really being snarky and really delivering content that's exciting for people with a little bit of an edge. How's that going? What's the blowback? Any blowback lately? Has there been an uptick? What are some of the things you're hearing from your audience? More Corey, and then of course the PR team's calling you.
The weird thing about having an audience beyond a certain size is far and away, as a landslide, the most common response I get is silence. Where it's, I'm emailing an awful lot of people at Last Week in AWS every week, and okay, they must not have heard me. That is not actually true. People just generally don't respond to email because who responds to email newsletters? That sounds like something a lunatic might do. Same story with response to live streams and podcasts. It's like, I'm going to call into that AM radio show and give them a piece of my mind. People generally don't do that.
We should do that actually. I think people would call in.
Oh, I think
I guarantee if we had that right now, people would call in and say, Corey, what do you think about X?
Yeah. Not everyone understands the full context of what I do, and in fact, increasingly few people do, and that's fine. I keep forgetting that sometimes people do not see what I'm doing in the same light that I do, and that's fine. Yeah. Blowback has been largely minimal. Honestly, I am surprised, if anything, by how little I have gotten over the last 5 years of doing this. But it would be easier to dismiss me if I weren't generally right. When, okay, so you launch this new service and it seems pretty crappy to me because when I try and build something, it falls over and begs for help. And people might not like hearing that, but it's what customers are finding too. Yeah. I really am the voice of the customer. You know,
I always joke with Dave Vellante about how John Fort's always at reInvent, getting the interview with Jassy. Now Andy, we're there, you're there. And so we have these rituals at the events, it's all cool. One of the rituals I like about your content is you like to get on the naming, product names, and kind of goof on that. Now why I like it is because I used to work at Hewlett-Packard where they used to name things as like engineers. HP 1005, or we can't call it that.
We have a new monitor, how are we going to name it? Throw the wireless keyboard down the stairs again, and there you go. Yeah, it's...
And the old joke at HP was if they invented sushi, they'd say, yeah, we can't call it sushi, it's cold dead fish, that's what it is. And so the joke was, cold dead fish is a better name than sushi. So, you know, naming's fun. So how's the Amazon doing in there? Have they changed their naming strategy on some of their product
They're
names?
going in different directions. When they named Amazon Aurora, they decided to explore a new theme of Disney princesses as they go down those paths. And some things are more descriptive. Some people are clearly getting bonused on number of words they can shove into it. Like the better a service is, the longer its name. Like AWS Systems Manager, Session Manager is a great one. I love the service, ridiculous name. They have a Systems Manager Parameter Store, which is great. They have Secrets Manager, which does the same thing. It's 2 words less, but that one costs money in a way that Systems Manager Parameter Store does not. It's fun.
What's your favorite combination of acronyms?
Combination of
acronyms. You got EKS,
acronyms.
you got EMR, you got EC2, you got S3, SQS. Well, Redshif's not an acronym. You got
EBS is one of my personal favorites because it's either Elastic Block Store or Elastic Beanstalk, depending entirely on the context of the conversation.
They still got Beanstalk, or is that still around?
Oh, they never turn anything off. They're like the anti-Google. Google turns things off while they're still building it. Whereas Amazon is like, well, we built this thing in 2005 and everyone hates it, but well, we certainly can't change it now. It has 3 customers on it, John, 3. Okay. SimpleDB still haunts our dreams.
Well, I actually got an email. I saw one of my servers, all these C2s were being deprecated, and I got an email. I'm like, couldn't figure out, why can't you just like roll it over? Why are you telling me? Just like, give me something else. All right, okay, so let me talk about the other things I want to ask you is that like, okay, so as Amazon gets better in some areas, where do they need more work in your opinion? Because obviously they're all interested in new stuff and they tend to like put it out there for their end-to-end customers, but then they got ecosystem partners who actually have the same product.
Yes.
And this has been well documented, so it's not controversial, it's just that Amazon's got a database, Snowflake's got a database service. So you know, Redshift, Snowflake, Databricks is out there. So you got this co-opetition.
Yes.
How's that going and what are you hearing about the reaction to any of that stuff?
Depends on who you ask. They love to basically trot out a bunch of their partners who will say nice things about them, and it very much has airs of, let's be honest, a hostage video. But okay, because these companies do partner with Amazon and they cannot afford to rock the boat too far. I'm not partnered with anyone, I can say what I want, and they're basically restricted to taking away my birthday at worst. So I can live with that.
All right, so I got to ask about multi-cloud, because obviously
yes.
the other cloud shows are coming up. Amazon hated that word, multi-cloud. A lot of people are saying, it's not a real good marketing word. Like multi-cloud sounds like, root canal, right? So is there a better description for multi-cloud?
Multiple single points of failure.
Dave Vellante loves that term.
Yeah. You're building in multiple single points of failure. Do it for the right reasons or don't do it. As a default, I believe not doing it is probably the right answer. However, and if I were Amazon, I wouldn't want to talk about multi-cloud either. As the industry leader, let's talk about other clouds. Bad direction to go in from a market cap perspective. It doesn't end well for you. But regardless of what they want to talk about or don't want to talk about, what they say, what they don't say, I tune all of it out and I look at what customers are doing, and multi-cloud exists in a variety of forms. Some brilliant, some brain dead. It depends a lot on context, but my general response is when someone gets on stage from a company and tells me to do a thing that directly benefits their company, I am skeptical at best. When customers get on stage and say, this is what we're doing because it solves problems, that's when I shut up and listen.
Yeah, Corey, awesome. Corey, I got to ask you a question because I know we've been fellow journeymen in the cloud journey, going to all the events, and then the pandemic hit. We're now in the third year. Who knows if it's ever going to end. Certainly events are going to look different. They're going to be either changing footprint with the virtual piece, new group formations, communities going to emerge. You've got a pretty big community growing and it's growing like crazy. What's the weirdest or coolest thing or just big changes you've seen with the pandemic from your perspective? Because you're in the middle of the whitewater rafting, you've seen the events, you saw it go offline, you saw the online piece come in, you're commentating, you're calling balls and strikes in the industry, you got a great team developing over there at Duckbill Group. What's the big aha moment that you saw with the pandemic? Weird, funny, serious, real, in the industry and with customers?
Accessibility. reInvent is a great example. When in the before times, it's open to anyone who wants to attend, who can pony up $2,000 and a week in Las Vegas and get to Las Vegas from wherever they happen to be. By moving virtually, suddenly it embraces the reality that talent is evenly distributed, opportunity is not. And that means that suddenly these things are accessible to a wide swath of audience and potential customer base and the rest that hadn't been invited to the table previously. It's imperative that we not lose that. It's nice to go out and talk to people and have people come up and try and smell my hair from time to time. I smell delightful, let me assure you. But it's also nice to be able to—
I got some product for you if you want,
Oh, excellent, I look forward to it. What is it? Pudding, why not?
What else have you seen? So accessibility for talent, which by the way is totally home run. What weird things have happened that you've seen?
It's weird, but it's good. That an awful lot of people giving presentations have learned to tighten their message and get to the damn point, because most people are not going to get up from a front row seat in a conference hall midway through your ambling talk and go somewhere else, but they will change a browser tab and you won't get them back. You've got to be on point, you've got to be compelling if it's going to be a virtual discussion.
Yeah, and also turn off your iMessage too.
Oh yes, it's always fun in the meetings when you're talking to someone and their colleague is messaging them about, should we tell them about this? And I'm sitting there reading it and
this guy is really weird. Look at it,
yes, I am, and I bring it into the conversation, and then everyone's uncomfortable. It goes, wow, why not?
I love when my wife yells at me over iMessage when I'm on a business call. Do you want to take that? No, I'm good.
No, it's better off if I don't acknowledge. It's only encourage her, it's fine.
My kids text them, it's fun. Again, that's another weird thing. And then group behavior is weird. Now people are looking at communities differently.
Yes, very much so.
Because if you're fatigued on content, people are looking for the personal aspect. You're starting to see much more of another virtual event. They got to get better, one. And two, who's there?
Yeah.
The person.
That's a big part of it too, is the human stories are what are being more and more interesting. Don't get up here and tell me about your product and how brilliant you are and how you built it. That's great if I'm you, or if I want to work with you, or I want to compete with you, or I want to put on my engineering hat and build it myself, because why would I buy anything that's more than $8? But instead, tell me about the problem. Tell me about the painful spot that you specialize in. Tell me a story there.
I think
that gets a glimpse and a hook and makes me want to learn more.
I think you nailed it. Scaling storytelling and access to better people, because they don't have to be there in person. I just did a thing we never would have done in theCUBE. We did, Amazon stepped up and sponsored us. Thank you, Amazon, for sponsoring International Women's Day. We did 30 interviews, APAC, we did 5 regions, And I interviewed these women in Asia Pacific, 8PJ they call for it in this world, and they're amazing. I never would have done those interviews because I never would have seen them at an event, I never would have been in Japan or Singapore to access them, and now they're in the index, they're in the network, they're collaborating on LinkedIn, so threads are developing around connections that I've never seen before, around the content.
Absolutely.
Content value, plus
and the content is
effect.
shifting, and that is the next big revelation of this industry is going to realize. You have different companies, and in Amazon's case, different service teams all competing with each other, but you have the container group, and you have the database group, and you have the message queuing group, but customers don't really want to build things from spare parts. They want a solution to a problem. I want to build an app that does Twitter for pets, or whatever it is I'm trying to do. I don't want to basically have to pick and choose and fill my shopping cart with all these different things. I want something that's going to basically give me what I'm trying to get as close to turnkey as possible, moving up the stack. That is the future, and just how it gets here is going to be
Well, we're here with Corey Quinn, the master of content here in the AWS ecosystem. Of course, we've been following him from the beginning. He's a great guy. Check out his blog, his site, his newsletter, streaming podcast. Corey, final question for you. What are you here doing? What's on your agenda this week in San Francisco? And give a plug for the Duckbill group. What are you guys doing? I know you're hiring some people. What's on the table for the company? What's your focus this week? And put a plug in for the group.
I'm here as a customer and basically getting out of my cage because I do live here. It's nice to actually get out and talk to folks who are doing interesting things. At the Duckbill group, we solved one problem. We fixed the horrifying AWS bill, both from engineering and architecture advising, as well as negotiating AWS contracts, because it turns out those things are big and complicated. And of course, my side media projects, Last Week in AWS.com, it's more or less a content operation where I indulge my continual and ongoing love affair with the sound of my own voice.
And it's good content, it's on point, fun, snarky, and relevant. So thanks for coming on theCUBE and sharing with us, appreciate it.
No, thank you, it's always a pleasure, John.
Okay, this is theCUBE coverage here in San Francisco, California. theCUBE is back at going to events. These are the summits, Amazon Web Services summits. They happen all over the world. We'll be in New York, and obviously we're here in San Francisco this week. I'm John Furrier. Keep it right here. We'll be back with more coverage after this short break.